and everything was going well. Financials, they were doing well. And then all of a sudden...
Something's coming up.
Yeah, of course, right? It's too perfect.
No deal goes well without one thing to get over.
That's right.
Things looking rosy. Getting into the ninth inning, right? 2 outs. Yeah. And, oh, by the way, let's run a credit report on Mr. Buyer.
Everyone loves a good story, right? So, buying a business can be a thrilling, exciting time, but it can also go sideways real quick.
Building a legacy starts with the bold decision to take a leap of faith. Behind every empire lies a foundation of grit, willpower, and the courage to take big risks. Welcome to Entrepreneurship Unlocked, where world shakers in the business world gather to share their stories. We're diving deep into the mindset of the modern entrepreneur to show you exactly what it takes to become truly unlocked. Join us in the pursuit of excellence with your host, Seth Rudin. This is Entrepreneurship Unlocked.
Hello, my name is Paul Long, SBA manager over at Gisa Credit Union. We love absolutely helping business owners get into buying a business, and I am joined by the broker extraordinaire.
You're too nice. I'm Seth Rudin. I'm a senior M&A broker for IBA, or International Business Associates. I cover Oregon and Washington State, and I enjoy just talking all business broker topics and helping buyers and sellers with Paul.
And he does a great job doing it. Well, in this video, we are going to be talking about buying a business disaster. Some of the things that we've seen go wrong. Just some of the things we've seen go wrong. Everyone loves a good story, right? So, buying a business can be a thrilling, exciting time, but it can also go sideways real quick. So we're going to share some of our stories on there, and you'll see how it's played out, and hopefully you can learn some of the lessons that some of these poor individuals had to go through.
This
right?
should be fun.
This will be fun, yeah. So this story is called "The Legal Issue That Was Never Shared," which that title I'm sure scares a lot of people. We had a seller that just wasn't giving as much information out there as much.
Not an IBA deal.
Of course you're going to disclose that. Okay. Not having a lot of information out there, just kind of, and that's usually kind of a red flag for lenders is like, if we need something, you're trying to sell your business, you should be able to provide that information pretty quickly, right? The seller pushing really hard on closing on a certain day. Which sometimes that's easy, sometimes that's hard, depending. But if you have a seller that's a little bit slow, I mean, it's every day we should be working on the deal, all sides, right? The buyer and seller were in training a few days before closing, and we had everything ready to go, getting ready to sign on the dotted line here over the next couple days. The buyer and seller were working together, doing some pre-training, which I know sometimes happens, even though the business isn't theirs. They're getting ahead of it, which I get.
Should be after the sale.
It should be after the sale. There was some employees around, and all of a sudden the police show up and arrest one of the individuals. Not one of the owners, thank goodness, but it did arrest...
Not the buyer.
Yeah, not the buyer, either one, for stealing. And that was something that apparently the seller knew about. And unfortunately, that sure put a wrinkle in the deal. So much that we kind of tore up those documents and said, no, thank you. Because nothing's really official until the pin actually hits the paper, right?
Yes, let things dry.
Yep, so got to be careful of that one. Another one that this one was exciting. We had a kind of a retail kind of business. They were looking. They mainly did a lot of retail at night, kind of similar to one of those. You paint and drink wine while doing so. They were doing amazing. It was a startup. Had all the experience. great projections, which I haven't met a projection that I have never not liked, because they're projections. And, you know, they had secondary business income and just everything. It was a perfect kind of deal. And they were in business, you know, a year and a half. And everything was going well. Financials, they were doing well. And then all of a sudden...
Something's coming up.
Yeah, of course, right? It's too perfect.
No deal goes well without one thing to get over.
That's right. And then so they had the opportunity to rent next door, okay, to expand. Okay. Well, think about it. If you have this kind of like paint and sip business, and then you have next door where you could do, say, a cafe, you got money coming in during the day, and then you got money coming during the night. So you're maximizing your space. Okay. That makes logical sense. They've been successful. Let's keep doing that. Well, that's when things start to go south.
Different business models.
Different business models, absolutely. And just because it sounds like a good idea doesn't mean it is a good idea. Spent a lot more on improvements and permits and all the stuff that is, you would think, you know, it's a coffee. How hard could that be? Well, guess what? Pretty hard and pretty expensive.
Which vertical has the highest failure rates?
That would be restaurant, Seth.
Just wanted to.
Right, thank you. And, you know, unfortunately, that cafe and all the expenses and everything that went into that not only brought down the cafe, but brought down the profitable business that was pumping out money, you know, for the owners. And so one of the things with that is you really got to be careful about growing too fast. You know, fine, I bought a business and I'm going to buy another one a year later. Really? Can you at least like get the dust to settle a little bit? At least from a banker standpoint. So those are just a few of the most interesting ones. And I know, Seth, you got some good ones too.
I have, yes. This one is, sorry, my friend, this one's about a bank not doing their job.
Oh,
like
that's
GISA
okay.
does. GISA does this right. Working on an engineering deal, both parties spending money on attorneys, CPAs, moving the transaction forward. They apply for the bank. The bank says, you know, I'll approve the term sheet. I pre-qualified the deal. Everything's looking rosy. Getting into the ninth inning, right? 2 outs. Yeah. And, oh, by the way, let's run a credit report on Mr. Buyer. And something pops up that causes the bank to go away. And now I got to sell the business twice. The buyer has to pay a fee without having an asset to go with that prize. And so did the seller, obviously. But the point for the buyers is know your credit report before you make the effort to buy a business. And no one, including yourself, gets punished by it because you'll spend time, money, and effort, and it'll go to waste.
You're telling me the banker didn't run credit until the ninth inning? That is absurd.
We wouldn't want to hit their credit report twice because we should do, right? Run it first in the beginning and early in the process to make sure. And then, of course, something could change. That's a legitimate argument.
It is.
That between, you know, it's usually a 60 to 120 day process depending on nuances of the business, real estate, and as you know, and government, or whatever. It could take 120 days, so they want to rerun it one more time. And they didn't do that first one. And that is a hard lesson for me to make sure all my banks, and this is why GISA and others are really good. You can see Paul's reactions because he does it.
Ugh. That's crazy. That's something.
And another deal, and we sort of touched on this in a different video, is around tariffs and the impact this had with the buyer. It was unfortunate, but it drove the seller skittish. So in 2025, obviously there were new tariffs. Yep. And this was a glass-related business where glass is mainly sourced from China. There are alternatives around the country to move to. Sure. It looked like China was going to have this 100% tax, but that turned out not to be the case. The buyer said, "Wait, we need to put this on pause until the dust settles, so you don't lose our shirt," which was not unreasonable. Sure. And unfortunately for all parties, nobody won because the seller said, "The hell with you, I'm out." And,
oh no!
And then that business eventually will come around and get sold. But the environment didn't help, and the buyer also lost in this case. That's a good point. Right? So no, this wasn't a buyer problem. It was just an unfortunate circumstance.
Interesting. Well, hey, we enjoy sharing information about our industries, and because again, we work close together, and so we have many other videos here on LinkedIn and YouTube, and we challenge you to go out there and look at those, because if you're looking to buy or sell a business, there's so many great things that are in there that can really get you up to speed. But nothing is, if you're looking to sell, you can watch all the videos you want, as I've said before, but you need to hire an experienced broker to make sure to help you with it, because there are so many moving parts. Don't try to do for sale by owner. It's not like a home. I tried to do it for sale by owner on a house myself.
Yeah,
that was
easy.
the dumbest thing I ever did. No, I should have used a realtor. There's no difference on that. So.
And the same thing, you need to have a sophisticated, banker who understands the nuances of banking and the creative ways to work around deals. We've put together deals in different ways, and Paul's
Very true.
and his team are always right there. They're responsive, they're knowledgeable, and they have the experience to get to the finish line.
Well, thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you on another video. See you later.
Thank you.